Hi everyone, my name is Ashish, and it's been a very long time since I recorded anything, but I wanted to get back and share more stuff regarding everything I know about game design, game making, VFX, technical art, and much more. So, yeah, I will try to be more consistent towards this channel. Hopefully, you learn something and we grow together. So let's get started. In this video, we are going to see how we can align our Niagara mesh particles to with this spline, or how we can use basically make our Niagara meshes follow this spline. So let's get into it right away. I'm gonna first create a Niagara system. I'm going to take maybe directional burst from template. Yes. And can rename it to ns underscore meshes or mesh spline, right? So I can rename it to ns follow spline. I'll delete most of the stuff which is not needed right now. Speed color, drag, gravity force, add velocity, and I'm gonna make it system. So whatever our stuff is here, we can use that. I'm going to add a mesh render here. I'm going to turn that off. In the mesh render, I'm going to select a mesh which I already made it in Houdini. Just a simple arrow. To use that mesh, this is here, it's aligned towards X. That will be fine for us. Now we need to get the spline component inside our Niagara system so that it can follow and we can basically start from a point and end towards a point. Correct. I'm going to take a scratch pad for this. I'll just make a new scratchpad module, rename it to follow spline. So the first thing we are going to do is to take a spline component. This is our spline, and we are going to take another input. I will just name it starting position. Start zero position. Right now, what we need to do is to take this spline, start it at 0. The start position is the spline 0. So spline goes from 0 to 1, right? So if we have this much big of a spline, we can start or emit our mesh particles here, and over its life, we can move it to the position and position. So for that, we have a node get spline. Sample position by unit distance. Okay, we can use this and we can put the start position in the U, and on the final we can make the particles position. In the map set, we are going to make a particle position node, and we are going to supply this position to our actual particle position. So it will just overwrite whatever the particle positions we have here. So if you have anything which is dealing with position in particle spawn, then what you need to do is to basically add a particle position here and add both of them. So add this and this. So it will not overwrite the particle position, but it will add on whatever you have. So right now we don't have anything. So I'm just going to leave it here and remove this pin. And let's see, we have our particles ready. We have our spline ready. We have our position ready. Right now the position I'm keeping at 0 because I want to control it outside of this system. I'll just apply and go to system. So you can see our follow spline is there and the start position is 0. So what we need to do is right now what I am doing is to set it to a direct set, which is 1. So the lifetime would be 1 second. And I'm going to make the start position is normalized age. What this will do is basically it will spawn a point, not a point, it will spawn a mesh on the starting position of our spline, which is 0, and over its lifetime, which is 1 second, it will start animating and going towards the end position. So let's see if this does it. To make a spline component in the viewport, we are going to make a blueprint. So I already have a blueprint, but I'm gonna make another one just to showcase. I'll just name it. I'm going to take actor BP follow spline line test. Okay. Right now you can see there's nothing inside this blueprint. I have just opened it. What I'm going to do is to add a spline component, which is here in the utility. So I've added this spline. We don't need to change anything and add a Niagara system, which should be parented to our spline. So in the Niagara system, I'm going to put follow spline, which is our Niagara system, and as follow spline. So you can see here what it is doing is it's just starting and going towards the end position. I'll just make this, save it, compile. A very good thing you can do is check this option, which is always save on compile always. So whenever you compile it, it'll always save your blueprint automatically. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to hide this. So I'm going to add our BP spline test here. I'm going to make it up. And we can edit our spline in the viewport now. So if you click here and press Alt and drag to any direction, it will make your spline longer. Again, Alt and make longer. And you can move it on the side as well. Back. Another spline towards here. You can currently see our spline is not following the actual direction of our our Niagara meshes are not following the direction of the spline in which it is going, but it's going it in it's completing the whole rotation in 1 second. So if I make it on side while just spawning and going over, that's because in the system state of our Niagara system, we have given an infinite and a 5 second loop duration. So every 5 seconds, it will spawn a particle or a mesh and it will complete its rotation of following this plane. So now I can make, it's just too many particles right now. So I can make a spawn burst instantaneous like this, and I can make a shape location. So now you can see the shape location. So if you want to emit more particles, but from let's say a sphere, so I have added a shape location. I haven't added in particle spawn because then we have to override the position, which I already told you, because it will write on the position, and we have to overwrite inside this our scratch pad to add the position. So I'm just adding it inside the particle update after our spline. Got it. And in this shape origin, we are going to not use the simulation position. We are going to use our stack context position. Now you can see very clearly how I will increase a little bit of time, let's say 5 seconds, and let's say 10 particles. So now you can see all our particles spawn and goes over the full length of our spline in about 5 seconds. It generates, goes and goes. Let's first fix this orientation issue. For that, we have to go inside our scratch pad and do the same thing. I'm going to add a sample spline position, sample spline direction by unit distance. So we have another node for this, and I can connect the start position again. But the direction, we can actually set it to a different one as well. Uh, Different one as in a new float input or a vector input, right? But I'm going to put that in velocity. I'll tell you why. I'm just going to put it here first. So right now you can see it's not following the proper orientation of the spline. So what I'm going to do is in the mesh renderer, I'm going to select the facing mode as velocity. So now you can see because we have so much closed of a spline here, like the points are too much close. That's why it's just doing that thing over here. But I can set the scale to uniform and maybe 0.3. If I make this point now a little up, it will automatically align itself towards the velocity. Now you can do a lot of things with this setup. Um, right now we have all our particles spawning at one point and going towards the end of this plane with a certain amount of a lifetime. So if you reduce the lifetime as well, it will increase the speed, right? So this lifetime is now basically a speed parameter of how much you want the distance to be traveled in how much time. So we can set it to random as well. So something like 3 to 7. So some particle will spawn and go with the speed of 3, and sometimes it will go 7, and it will automatically spawn again after 5 seconds. So let's say you don't want it to end, you just want an infinite loop of particles generating over time. So we can use a spawn rate, right? So let's say we want 10 particles. See. So the 10 particles will always generate. I just need to select this so you can see it better. Down just for visual quality. Now you can see this. It will keep on spawning and going towards our end of this plane. And the shape location, you can reduce it to 10 as well. Similarly, you can turn on the sprites as well. So the sprites will also follow the same thing. But just to keep in mind, the sprites are also velocity aligned. I will keep it unaligned or automatic. So you can see splines also will follow with this. Another thing is to just when you're spawn using a spawn burst instantaneous, you can make it so it will always, like with 2 seconds, it will generate an amount of particle which we have given, let's say 10, inside the spawn burst instantaneous, and we can set it to 3 to, like, let's say a little close loop. So every 2 seconds it will spawn some particles and it will go towards it. So it's, you can use this setup mostly and while indicating the player to going to a certain location, right? So that's where I have used it. But yeah, there are a lot more application. If you want a swarm of bees or butterflies going in a particular direction, you can use this. You can use in most of the cases. Thank you. Have a good day. Hopefully you learned something.